Okay, so let me just open this little puppy up. First of all,
Right on.
I want to say, oh, good evening, good evening, good evening to my amazing, amazing Black women who are Class ACDL drive artists. I'd like to introduce them. Um, Onesta Norman, Tammy Seabury, and Linda Bowles are Class A drivers for the mighty, mighty FedEx Express. Annette Britton I met Annette Britton about 12 years ago, and she realized that I was a truck driver, and she always said, I always wanted to be a truck driver, always. So she is now a truck driver. I think a year now. She took the class and everything, so she is now a truck driver. So,
all right,
so I'm
congratulations.
just that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. So I love when women say they want to do something, and guess what? Ain't that what we do? When we say we're gonna do it, that's what we're gonna do.
That's what we do.
So what I would like to do is just each one of you amazing women introduce yourself. And I guess what I'm going to say is introduce yourself and just give a little information about who you are. So what I'll do so that everybody won't know who to go first, I would say who's going to go first and who's going to go next. So Onesta Norman, I'm going to select you to go first because she's the oldest of the troop. I mean, in tenure. In tenure and driving. Okay?
Right, with driving.
Let me get it. I don't want to get it twisted now because I know she ain't the oldest because I know who is the oldest, right? But she has more tenure in the Class A truck driving industry than all of us because she's the reason I became a truck driver. So go on. So go ahead, Onesta.
Okay, I'm Onesta Norman, and I drove for FedEx for 15 years. I was a long haul driver, and I thought it was a great experience because you're the boss when you drive a truck.
Mm-hmm.
You're in control.
And you know what?
Now I'm retired,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved to Colorado. So it's good to
so
see you
tell me what
guys.
you do. Just tell me what you do in Colorado. Why you left Chicago when you retired?
I left Chicago because I was tired of having to move because neighborhoods change. So now where I am, no one can move next door to me
Because
I'm on so many acres.
and how many acres are you on?
I'm on 80 acres.
So she has 80 acres.
Acres.
88 acres. And what is your plan for the 80 acres?
Well, there was nothing out here, so I'm going to be the landscaper for the front, and there's going to be vegetables and herbs in the back.
So aren't you going to have some cows and some horses and all of that?
No.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, got to be. It's got to be a joke.
She is not about no animals on her
No
property.
animals.
Where is the 80 acres? Hi, I'm Annette. Can you see
Hi,
me?
Annette. I'm in Calhoun, Colorado.
She said, why so many acres?
No, I didn't say that. I said where? Calhoun, Colorado.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, ain't nobody out there but her because she don't want nobody living next to her. That's why she got 80 acres. You know what? So can't nobody spit over there next door to her at all.
That's right.
Who's gonna help you farm all that land?
My husband.
Okay, well there you got something going on. Okay.
Well, you know what? And let me just say, I know we're supposed to be talking about driving, but anyway, I just want to just give some kudos to Onesta. She every now and then shows us how she's on the tractor, doing her land, how they built their home on the land. And it's like, this couple here is super, super amazing. So and what was it? Was some other equipment that you had? I guess being a truck driver makes her ain't scared of nothing. right? To see her on this tractor, and it was another piece of equipment that you sent to us that you were doing some kind of stuff on your property. Oh, when you guys moved, all of your stuff came by truck, and it was a semi truck, and I believe that your your brother-in-law, he hauled everything in a semi truck, and that's how y'all got from Chicago to Denver.
Yes.
Just I mean, they crazy. That's what they are. They're real crazy, you know. But that's a little history with Onesta. Let me just share something with her. The reason I became a truck driver, because I saw this woman coming, because she did the long haul, you know, the real long distance thing, you know. And I would see this woman coming up here, this little bitty woman coming up here, waiting to get her load. And I said, really? Like, oh man, I got to do this. If this little chick can do it, I know I can do it, right? So she was my inspiration. So, and that's how we became very, very close.
Yes, that's how we met.
That's how we met.
And Tammy and Linda.
And Linda. So now next is Linda Bowes.
My name is Linda Bowes. I live on the far south side of Chicago. I became a driver because we were sitting in a meeting with one of our senior managers. And I was a TCA at the time, a trucking control agent. And one of my coworkers, who was also a TCA, she says, TCAs are the most valued people that work in this organization. And he told her, no, you're not. She said, well, we do a lot of work. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, a driver is more valuable in this organization than a TCA. He said, because he said, if a TCA doesn't come to work, I can put a driver in her spot. He said, if a driver doesn't come to work, I can't put a TCA there. So I got to thinking, let me get up out of here and get in this truck. Let me become a valued member of the organization. So for about 13 years, I was an RTD. I did station runs. And then after that, my body started, I started having problems with my body, my shoulders, bursitis, arthritis, pushing and pulling cans. And I was going to tell them I need a interface run. But the long haul department came up with a 2-day run. And so I switched over to a 2-day run. So I run the Indianapolis every Monday and every Friday, twice a week.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So let me
see freight. I don't even look at it. All I do is look at the sheet they give me. I hook up to the trailer, take it to Indianapolis, drop that trailer, hook up to another trailer, come on back. Don't even have to see freight. Don't see it.
And the one thing that I'm amazed about Linda Bowes is that her husband also worked for FedEx as this Class A driver. So let's put that in there. And the other thing that amazes me about Linda Bowes is she only worked 2 or 3 days a week. She always get those. And I said, this is so amazing. A woman can be a truck driver because you started out with 3 days, right? With
4 days. I started out with 4 days.
And then she decided to decrease it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how valuable truck drivers are. You can decrease your time how you want to work, when you want to work it. Another thing that was always amazing for me is that people would say, oh, do you drive? So you drive by yourself? I said, yeah, I'm by myself. Won't nobody sitting over there bothering me and telling me what to do. And you sit in there, and if you know how to work it, you can sneak around and don't nobody know where you are, what you're doing, and what time. As long as you get that freight there on time and bring it back on time, that's all they worry about.
Now, Gina,
okay, so
not anymore. Now they have the cameras.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's why. And you know what? That's sure enough why I'm gone.
Yep, me too.
I'm sure enough. Oh man, they've changed everything.
Oh yeah.
So
I hope to be gone.
So let's introduce.
Time.
All right, you're gonna retire next year? Because I know your husband, he has retired already. Right?
Yeah.
He's retired already. And he worked for FedEx Freight.
Right. He was at FedEx Express. He left FedEx Express. went to American Freightways. 6 months after he got there, FedEx bought American Freightways, and they called it FedEx Freight.
That's
And
right. That's right.
And they let him keep all his time that he had with FedEx. He was able to combine the express years with the freight years, because they said it was only like a 6 month, 4 to 6 months difference.
Mm-hmm. That goes to show you what a valuable player you are, being a truck driver.
Right. Now, Gina, you know that Greg is on the line, right?
Who? Oh yeah, we're gonna get to him just a minute. You know,
That's
he got to wait his turn. It's women first. You know, wait a minute. This is women. This is woman to woman. So he knows how to work. And he knows exactly how to work. Yeah. Okay. The next person is Tammy Seaberry.
Hi, I'm Tammy Seaberry. I drove for 13 years. I was local at first, and then I became long haul. But I did long haul for 3 years, and then they let me dispatch for a year when I was in long haul. And Ornesta trained me on her run one time. She told me I was driving too slow because I should have been at a certain spot when she woke up. You remember that, Ornesta?
Yes, I do. I was like, oh my God, we should be at such and such a spot by now.
And I told her, when you training, you the one supposed to drive, not me. I'm supposed to sit on the side. But still driving, just not driving for FedEx right now. Driving for the city.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, tell us what you do for the city.
The city, I'm a CDOT driver, so I drive multiple equipment. I could do potholes, I could do dumpsters, or I can take material to a location. Different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Money.
Don't you do the snow removal thing too?
Only when I want to.
But that's what I'm talking about. That being a valuable player, you know, only when you want to, you know. But this goes to show you, you know, how valuable truck drivers are, and we as women got to get up into this element. Because you're still in Chicago, right? You're still on the south side, right, Tammy?
On the west side.
On the west side. Oh, really? Where you live, girl? Because I'm on the west side. Okay, we're going to
Where you at?
Okay.
You remember I was over there. You showed me your garden.
Right, exactly. So anything else? Because I'm going to move on to Annette.
That'll be all.
Okay. Annette Britton.
Okay, I'm Annette Britton, and I have been driving truck for 1 year. I call this my last career.
Congratulations.
But it is exciting. I am still so excited. I am getting ready to get back into the saddle next week. I had to go to physical therapy for a little bit, but just as a matter of historical perspective, I have always, since I was probably 15 years old, I got my first driver's license. I saw those big semis going down the road, and I thought in my heart, just once, I would love to drive an 18-wheeler. So, you know, a couple years ago, I thought after the pandemic, it's like, well, if you're ever going to do it, when? And so I looked into it. I found another good friend of mine down in Birmingham who had just got her CDL. She had been driving for like 2 years. She encouraged me not to sign up with a trucking company, but to find a program. I went to Olive Harvey. I got a free scholarship, got my license, and I had a job within a week. The very next week, I got my license in September. I was hired on by Schneider in October. So driving them for a year, and now everything I hear is I need about 2 years under my belt, and then I could do some other things. I'm a very valuable after 2 years, and I think long term, because I did get into this game late, I would like to do something on a part-time basis, like with driveaways. and delivering trucks over the road so I can get out to the places I want to get to. I want to get west. I want to driven the Appalachians. I want to drive the Rockies, and then I will have and go to the Pacific Northwest, and then I will have satisfied the dream. I see Gina shaking her head, but you know, all have cruise control. And I went to Appalachians.
Listen, you don't want to mess with the Rockies. I'm telling you.
Maybe.
Just gotta do it once. I've been through that. I gotta do it once, and I do trust the cruise control. I've been on the Appalachians. I've never driven the mountains before in the truck. This past spring, last spring.
Why you shake your head?
In 2 years, girl, because them mountains are something about it. And just remember, the car. I've been to the Rockies in the car. I just want to do it once in the truck, and then after that, it's just I want to see Idaho. I want to see all the places I would never see, the Pacific Northwest, and then I'll be I don't know. I'll be looking to settle into my land. I have some land. That's why I was asking her about her land, where it was. I have some land in Nevada, and thinking I want a campsite because I was looking up campsites. Was talking to a family member. They very few Black-owned campsites. So that's
absolutely. But it's a lot of work in taking care of a campsite.
Well, you can start like with base camp. You can have very rustic camps, and the land I have is like on the edge of the Humboldt Toyabe National Forest. You know, so it's really designed. It's very, very rural. There is nothing for 30. The nearest town is 35 miles away. So, but you know, that's a whole nother project. I won't do it by myself. I won't do it by myself.
Don't. Please don't.
Okay. All right.
Did I cover all the bases? I covered all the bases. Why I got into trucking, how long I've been there, and and I drove over the road. I drove for Walmart for the first on a Walmart dedicated account for the first 6 months, and then I went out over the road, and those were the most glorious few months I've ever had.
I'm loving you, girl.
That's good.
All right.
So I have a question that I'm going to sit around. Okay, let me just have everybody else introduce themselves because I done took over everything. Okay, so guess who's next? Greg Saunders.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
I am honored. You guys, I'm privileged to be among. I mean, what you ladies do. First of all, as you know, there's not a whole lot of women drivers. There's really not. The percentage of men versus women. So there's roughly 1.3 million drivers, commercial drivers in the U.S., and only 9% of those are women.
I thought it was huge now. I mean, when I started out, it was very few, but I thought it was huge now.
It's growing. It's really starting to grow now. And I'm seeing that from my school because actually my best students have been women. I'll just be totally honest.
Of course.
Not only, yes,
and better drivers.
They're better drivers, absolutely.
We are.
And you're hired quicker than the men.
Okay, so can I just add to that, Greg? Not to cut you off, but I'm gonna do that. The manager that I was under, that was his I guess his intention was to have as his group all women. And he said because women, and especially if they're single moms or have children, because those women will come to work because they know they got to feed them babies.
Yeah.
They are more assertive because them, and I can say this with knowing that this is really true, is that men are so dead blasted lazy. All they do is complain.
Yeah.
What they ain't gonna do and why you shouldn't do what you're doing. Because as Anesta was, and so was I was a hustler. So was Anesta. We were a hustler. When they had overtime coming up, oh man, we was on it.
We were on it.
You own
it. And whenever they wanted somebody to work overtime, Regina, well, I was Regina then. That's my name. Regina, you want to work? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And what made me angry is when they started making you could only drive for 10 hours, and they put this thing, you couldn't drive as long. You can only be on the clock for 14 hours. That messed me up
Well,
because not
that's
only
a factor.
Anessa and I, not only did we work for FedEx, but we did part-time at other trucking companies. So we was on it.
So blame the feds for that, because the FMCSA changed all that a couple
That's
years
right.
ago.
That's right. They did.
Sure
They did. They sure did. And with FedEx, they were really stringent about that. They were so, to the letter of, because I guess they don't want to get fined and what have you, have an
Well,
accident.
the fines are huge. Oh, the fines are huge. Oh, yes.
Right. Exactly. So I just want to add that. So go ahead, Greg.
Okay.
To finish.
So I'm Greg Saunders. I'm actually the president of the Atlanta CDL Training School here in Metro Atlanta. We are the only Black-owned and operated CDL training school in Georgia. There's actually only a handful of schools in the whole country. So, we had to fight tooth and nail to even get that distinction to come online. And it's still been a dogfight. We're coming up on 2 years, which kind of changes things because they won't be able to mess with us after that. Maybe that, but it opens the door for other things. But one of the things that makes us unique is the fact that, first of all, when I wrote the curriculum, I made sure I took into account that I would be writing for people of color. And, we learn differently. So that was one of the things. The other things, I will take felons. Like the Caucasian firms, they will not do that. And people think, oh, that's bad. But some of the students I have seen are still being penalized at 35 and 40 for mistakes they made selling drugs or whatever at 18 and 19 and 20 years old. Probation on a drug charge is absolutely insane. But it's hurt us. Also, some of us don't have the privilege, and it depends on you live, of really getting a good formalized education. So some of the people that come to my school don't even have GEDs. Testing, we are going to add GED to our curriculum, but we give them the opportunity. I just need to know that first of all, they have it in their heart. This is what I wanted to do, because I'm going to be on it, because my goal is to get you that GED and change your life.
That's right.
Oh, that's admirable.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Wow. So, with that being said, does anybody have any questions for us? You guys, as I said, I have such a relationship with each one of these women, all four of them. And I just want to say, I really appreciate you guys, because women have so much power, and we don't realize how much power that we have. And that's my goal, is to teach young women that I'm surrounded about how much power you have. Anything that you decide that you want to do, you got to work at it. It ain't gonna drop in your lap. And I think that's the one thing that our generation, or the generation behind us, they just think it comes easy because parents gave it to you and you didn't have to do anything for it. But when you step out into this world, it's not easy, and you have to hold yourself accountable to take care of yourself. And how can you do that in the lifestyle that your parents have made you accustomed to? So you thrive to do those things to keep that, that keep it flowing. And I really, really admire you, Greg, or Mr. Saunders, however you want me to call you.
It's Greg.
Our race of people, we've been so bamboozled. And what I was listening to a woman saying, the world, or the United States, how it's been made because of us. And they try to discredit the African American race about not being the source of what this world is today, what this nation is today. It's because of us. And they just try to discredit that. But I just want to say thank you, ladies. And Roxanne, I'm so sorry. Roxy. Oh man, Roxy. So you're next.
I'm in awe just listening to the ladies. Before you came on, Gina, I was telling them that I aspired to learn this trade. But here's my question to each of you. I looked at it from a different perspective. One of the young ladies who worked in my program got her CDL in working, but her objective was to work the first 3 years and buy her own truck. And so I just want one of the drivers to speak to why is it something we should encourage our female truck drivers to do, to own their own trucks, or is it really best for them to get working under a company a couple of years before they take that kind of leap?
Mm-hmm. For me, I would think to have the experience of what the truck driving industry is, and I guess Greg could give more information on that. Well, my niece, she and her husband own their own truck, and he's the one that drives it, right? He drives it, but they own their own business. It was not easy for them. It was not easy. It was a struggle. He was not a Class A driver, but he did drive. So coming from that, I guess the basics of driving and just jumping right into the CDL and then owning your truck, I think that there are steps that should be taken, Roxy. There's, because with anything, owning a business is already in itself a 24/7 type of entity. And if you're going to make this your income, you have to know the pros and the cons. And I guess Greg could speak more too on that.
For me, at this point, I would get the experience first. At least maybe get the first 6 months, a year under your belt, make a little bit of money, learn the ins and outs, because once you buy that truck, and they are not cheap, it all falls on you at that point in time. So a lot of us aren't ready. And even some guys that have been driving for years and then they get their own trucks, they really find out what it really means to own your own business.
Right.
So I think I would be, for students that come out of my school, I recommend that they get the experience, earn a little money, learn the ins and outs of it, and then maybe make that decision later on down the road.
Because it might change your mind, because when you own because when you own your own truck, as opposed to working for a trucking company, when that truck falls, you need the maintenance on it. You always need maintenance all of the time. I mean, we would have our trucks.
Wheels got to keep turning.
That's
Your
right.
wheels got to keep turning, because that's how you gonna eat. What was it said? I was saying that truck ain't got no business sitting over there, ain't doing nothing. That trucks are supposed to be on the road, and whatever that is, the upkeep, the fuel. Even when you're taking a run, making sure you do have runs that you can roll the truck, hooking up with, connecting with businesses that would even want you to do it, and going and figuring out how they do their process. It's more than a notion.
And the dispatchers, if you get a bad dispatcher, you and your dispatcher don't get along, you in trouble. You're not gonna make any money.
Right. The other thing is,
I have met a couple of women who have their own trucks, and there's a couple of things that since I've been driving, I think there's a lot of companies that encourage the owner operators. They dangle the money carrot, like you can make so much more money. And I've had a couple of different advices from a couple of different people. One is you do a lease own a situation, and you only lease new trucks, and then the other lady bought an older truck. But it's really important that you get mentored by someone who has a truck, because running a business is something you think it's easy, but you don't know all the ins and outs of like how to get loads, what's the right loads to take, if the money's right. People thought I was in the business to buy a truck, and it's like, no, I just want to drive.
That's like buying a house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do they say, having your own truck ain't no punk? It ain't a punk, boy, at all. I mean, it would take it stress you out, really, if you don't know how the business works. And I would agree to, and even with Greg, learn the business, because you might just change your mind,
And the economy affects it so much, the fluctuations in the economy and all that kind of stuff. It's like you never think about these things before. Your eyes may be set on owning your own business and making 6-figure income, but it's like you're gonna earn every penny of that 6 figures.
Right.
When you run the business, that headache is like ain't nothing.
Gina, I have a guest.
We've had issues too with people that have their own trucking companies and don't have their CDLs. I'm seeing them coming to the school now because their trucks are being left out on the road, going down. I mean, so it's just the opposite of that too. They have the business, they can't drive, they don't know all the ins and outs of the business. So they've leaned on truckers and now they're in situations that,
Yeah.
And what about if you hire truckers, are they going to take care of your truck?
That's true.
Are they going to take care of your truck? Now, that's another thing, it's like, are they going to, make sure that it's clean and make sure that when something is wrong, that it's wrong, make sure they don't leave it on the side of the road. And that's another thing. If that truck breaks down, do you know what it costs to have that baby towed?
I'm telling you.
You got to think of all of those things.
Yeah.
All of those things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gina,
If you're going to be the owner.
Just ear hustling tonight to listen to you ladies, to know I'm in the not-for-profit business where we do job training and we try to promote vocational trainings. And I'm trying to just listen that, I don't want our women to grow old and be in poverty. I want them to utilize all options available to them. And so I think hustling to know how to promote this truck driving business, because across America, all of our product is moved by a truck driver one way or another. And so it's a kind of career that they would not have to depend, like she said, you're an independent operator. You don't have to depend on other people to do this business.
Another thing, when I was in training, because training was excruciating for me to learn how to drive a truck. But anyway, the trainer said to me, everything you've touched, everything that you put your hands on has been on a truck. No matter what it is.
You're right.
Everything has been on a truck.
Yeah,
Some things may have been on the rails.
If it's on the rails, it's still
But it's got to get off the
needs a truck
rails.
to get it off the rail to get to a company.
There you go.
Right.
Everything that you touch has been on a truck.
Right.
So he said, your job, you will always have a career. So don't get it. Don't be afraid. You will always have a career.
Because even during the pandemic, when everybody else was shut down, we were still working. And somebody said, well, how is it that you all are still working? Well, how do you think you're going to get your products? How are you going to be able to go to the store and put your hands on things and buy it? The trucks have to roll.
They have to roll.
We're in there by ourselves, so we were okay.
Ladies, I have a gentleman sitting here. He has an interest in learning how to drive a truck. So I thought that I would have him introduce himself and talk to you, Greg, about joining your program.
Oh,
is he in Atlanta?
He's here in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Chicago.
Are you in Chicago? Oh, okay.
Well, my name is
All the
Keelan.
way to Atlanta.
Yeah, my name is Keelan. I actually just recently started thinking about getting into trucking. I actually enjoy driving. And yeah, I guess here for some pointers or some guidance.
Well, there's a lot of places in Chicago that do trucking.
Because Annette, where did you go to
the
school?
post office? You'll do one run and then sit around and don't do anything.
Oh, wow.
That is the truth. Absolutely. You do one run and that's it. And you get paid for full time. Absolutely. It's like, And the best thing is when they got to load you and offload you and all, you just sit and wait until they get through and just, it's beautiful. But getting back to, what's the gentleman's name again?
My name is Keelan.
Keelan,
Yeah.
Keelan, this is what I told some of you. I went to
Annette.
school. Huh?
Go ahead, Annette, because I was going to say, introduce you to him.
I went to Olive Harvey because I was encouraged not to sign up with a trucking company, because when you sign up with a trucking company to learn how to get that license, you have a year contract. You have a year-long commitment with them. But what I've told some of the young men who've asked me is, to go to school, like I went to Olive Harvey, but you've got to be willing to sit in a classroom. A lot of young men don't want to go back to school and sit in that classroom. And that's ideally the best way to go, because I did not have to sign a contract with anybody. They came looking for me to give me a job. But if you go with a trucking company, you get on the road right away. I don't know whether that's good or bad. Someone else will have to speak to that. I just know that trucking companies, because there's such a shortage, I think it's something like 51,000. Greg, you can speak to that one. But there's like annually, there's over a half of it's some large number of shortage of truck drivers. And so trucking companies are trying to get folks out there. Within 3 to 7 weeks, you're out there rolling in a real truck. And, you may be earning minimum wage, but you're earning money. And, you're putting that time in. So you got the clock starts ticking and you get that year of experience right away. So it all depends on your desire. But if you don't want to start up with a trucking company, Olive Harvey, you're in Chicago, Olive Harvey has programs. They have scholarships. You don't pay 1 red cent, and they take you through everything that you need to get your CDLA.
Okay.
And that was a good point. That was a good point to make. And when you go to training, it's a lot of classroom work too. You have a lot of classroom. It's just not going there and you jump in a truck and you learn how to do it. It's a lot of, you have to pass. Well, now that's with us with FedEx. So it was a 3-week course for us, at least 3 weeks. I'm saying at least 3 weeks because I did more than 3 weeks. It's at least 3 weeks that you go into training.
Right.
It took me a little longer. It took me a little longer to catch on. And
So
then it's just not jumping in the truck. They give you got to learn all the ins and outs, what the has tests, and it's in classroom, a lot of in classroom work also. And as you were saying, people think you just go in there and you're going to get in the truck and you're going to learn. Oh, no, that's not. As a matter of fact, they even tell you the workings of the truck before you even get in the truck. You've got to know all this information before you even step your foot into the truck. And I don't know if that's the way you learn in that, but that's the way we learn at FedEx. It was so detailed and intricate. I mean, it was just detailed. And they did with FedEx, they would send you up to training. So we didn't have to pay 1 red cent, but we had a 2-year contract. Wasn't that right? We had to be a truck driver for 2 years before we could go anywhere else or whatever. That was the contract. You had to be a truck driver there for 2 years. So all I'm saying, just know that it, like anything else, to be successful, it's not going to drop in your lap. You got to put some work into it. You got to do something. You got to, if you want something, you got to give something.
Right.
And if that's what you want.
The Olive Harvey program, it was 6 weeks in the classroom.
See?
To get your permit, to get all that, it was 6 weeks. Now that's like 4 weeks longer than trucking companies. And it was 6 weeks in the classroom before we got out to the yard and ever got to ride along in the back of a truck. Yeah, throw that 6 weeks in there, because that'll make you make a decision whether you want to do this or not. If you think it's just gonna jump in the truck.
Can you imagine all us women? We had to learn all about the mechanics of the damn truck.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think it's cool that, all you ladies actually, drove trucks,
Excuse me, Midwest Trucking Company, they have a program, and they got stuff that it might be free or you might have to pay, but you could check them out, because I have 2 people that I know that just graduated from them. So,
okay. Are they in Melrose Park? Tammy?
They different locations, because it's one on Harlem. They got different locations.
Oh, okay.
Well, here's the reasons why you ladies had to go to school for so long, because you went to a technical college. And for them to get, the federal and state monies, you have to be inside that program for that long. My program, and probably some of the other programs, are only 4 weeks long.
Well, right.
Right. 160 hours. And this is what the new ELDT requirements, because now you have to have entry-level driver training attached to that program. It's 1 week in the classroom, and you get your CLP, which is your permit, the first week. Then it's 3 weeks out on the range. So from there, and we train on 10-speed manual transmission vehicles. So we teach you shifting, pre-trip. You're tested here on 3 maneuvers. We teach you 5, and then it's the over-the-road part. So it's changed a little bit. And as far as jobs goes, I mean, there's 7% of the jobs are unfilled, and that seems like a small percentage, but that's like 2 or 3 million jobs. So the jobs are there. The people I partner with, and they're big companies, Swift and Snyder and some of those guys, they're hiring our guys right out of the gate at between $60,000 and $90,000. The guys that want to drive over the road are all 100 plus. So this is right after 4 weeks.
Oh, that's very good.
That's very good.
So you should just know. Now, the technical school probably it's going to be a little bit cheaper, and if you're using FAFSA or whatever, that may be the route to go, because the commercial end it's you'll get out faster, but it's going to cost a little more. So there's some cost, stuff in there to deal with.
So how much is your training? What is the cost for your training?
So to get a CDLA, it's $4,200, and to get a CDLB, which only takes 2 weeks, is $3,600.
Okay. Do you have any scholarship programs?
Well, we're actually working on that, because we're just in the process of forming a 501c3 to attach to our company. So we're working on that now.
Oh, okay. Is there age restriction? Do you have to be like from 18 to whatever?
So there are, so now they allow 18-year-old guys and ladies.
Really?
Yes, 18.
Yeah, they sure
drive. You just can't drive out of state. It's all interstate until you reach 21. But that's right. Still, you can still make quite a bit of money. I mean, because there's routes you could run. I mean, a lot of companies have intermodals. I mean, so you back home at night, so yeah, you can still make quite a bit of money. The garbage people that pick up here, they pay $90,000, and you're not touching a can at all.
Can a senior be a driver too?
Absolutely. My oldest student was 70 years old.
Well,
there's no age issue there. You can drive.
There's no age limit.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay.
As long as you can pass that hazmat test.
And the DOT physical, you have to
try to get with a company that doesn't carry haz.
Or get one that doesn't carry haz.
Right.
But you get that hazmat though.
But get that hazmat, because that's
get it.
That looks good on your license, boy. That looks real good on your license.
Wow.
You get paid extra money, because we train at you, get your ELDT credits. The only thing you have to do after that is go to TSA, get fingerprinted, and then take the test. That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
So what about that test, ladies? Was it did you think you were not gonna make it, or was it difficult? What about the test?
Okay, I can answer that one.
I remember this one.
Man, it was a struggle. I was just saying, the curriculum for FedEx is that it was 3 weeks. You have 3 weeks out of state at where was that place? Arkansas.
We were
Blytheville, Arkansas. So that's where the training was, and you'd be there for 3 weeks, and then you would come back and have a buddy for a couple of weeks, that would drive with you. But let me tell you, it was the hardest thing man, I cried. It was so funny. Even when I finally got home and was graduated, FedEx would be 3 weeks. It took me 4 weeks to figure that shit out. I mean, to figure that out. And then, what helped me? But what helped me was having a different trainer every day. That didn't help me. But when I did that 1 week with that one trainer, and he focused on me, I got it with the quickness then. Just because when we went to Bible, you just know who the trainer. They had like 6 or 7 trainers, that would come every day, and you didn't know who your trainer was going to be from day to day, But let me tell you, I need undivided attention for me to get things. So, and I found that out. It took me 3 weeks to find that.
That's okay.
As a matter of fact, my manager had happened to come down to Blytheville, and he had to approve me to stay the next week.
Wow.
So it wasn't just something you just stayed. He had to approve me to stay next week. But when I got home, I still cried. Why did you? Because he's the one that suggested that I be a truck driver. And I told, why did you make me do this? Why did
Who was
you
that,
make me do
Craig?
this? Craig. And then he would convince me because they gave me a decision day, girl. Do you really want to do this?
It's all us under Craig.
Whatever there was to go through, I went through it. Whatever the step was, the next step, I went through it. But once I finally got it, it's like, okay, it's a piece of cake now. Once I finally got it.
Then you was able to go on with your life.
And now I can go on with my life. I'm telling you, it was.
When I came back from class, right away, I was jumping on that overtime. Well, you want to take an extra run? Yeah, I'll take an extra run. Yeah. And it was like, you just started driving. I said, listen, I got 3 kids.
See what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. That's what Craig said. He wanted them women that had them babies,
Yeah, and then when I took that Michigan run, they were like, oh, Nesta, don't go out there. I said, I have to feed my kids. What's wrong with you? I have to go out there.
I'm gonna tell something on Onessa. So now we are drivers by ourselves. So she had her 3 children. Shoot, Onessa would get them babies and put them in a truck and take them with her.
Oh.
You ain't supposed to even have them babies in it. Now we can tell that tale now because you ain't nowhere close.
Yeah.
You get them babies up there, put them in, and they better not say nothing.
Wow. But you can do that now. You can take your kids, your dog, your spouse. I mean, they allow you to do that. A lot of the trucking companies allow that now.
Well, FedEx probably
did not allow it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying FedEx didn't allow it. That's all.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of overdue drivers with them puppies and cats and stuff.
It's amazing. Can I ask you ladies about something? I mean, it's about discrimination, because that seems to be a big piece of it. Even as Black people, we still there's only 13% of us that are representative as drivers. It's still even low. So what did you guys face from that? Because you really 10 years.
I faced real discrimination. Did you, Tammy?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
when I went to Memphis though. Memphis, they was so prejudiced down there. Man, if my manager would have let me came home that first week, I would have never came back. I called him. I was like, these people down here, anything, if I bag up straight, if I get anything over a man, do it again. You ain't do that. Do it again. I didn't even like going to that place.
Mm.
When I got back, I wasn't thinking about that truck. I told them, y'all better give me some days off or I'm not coming back. But yeah, they was horrible down there. And then I think the next person after me, they came back and complained, and then we got rid of them. Yeah, we got rid of them. They was prejudiced, baby. That was my first time ever experienced prejudice when I went down there. They said, all you're gonna be is the steering wheel holder. Number one, I think I was the only Black female that was there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I didn't. Were you talking about specific training, Greg? Or are you talking about
in Memphis?
I'm asking Greg. Are you talking about racism in the industry?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from your standpoint as a driver, I'm sure there was some during training, but once you actually got out there, what did you run into?
The prejudice I ran into was the drivers that I worked with at FedEx.
Oh yeah, you had a big problem.
We had a big problem with our drivers that was on our team. Prejudice. Oh, they just, especially being Black and female, and making the same kind of money that they were making, and with their laziness, and they would, because they had told me, being the one happened on overtime, because remember, Onessa, we didn't have to sign up for overtime. All they did was just ask you. and then you would take it. So I jumped on that overtime. Woo, Lord, like crazy. And then two drivers, especially Jay Van Camp, told me, he pulled me to the side. He said, you know what, you should stop working so much overtime because you're really interfering their process and how they do, which is they sit on their, they sit all day and don't want to do anything and complain. And I said, you know what? Because that's when I started getting into the trucking language, right?
Mhm.
The way they talk. And I said, that's something you can't even, why would you say something to me? Something like that. You don't know who I am, what I am. But it was really, and then William Bernice coming back, like you just don't know everything. And then another driver told me, he said, well, you asked to do this, so you need to learn how to do it yourself. Oh, it was horrible.
Oh, wow.
They were horrible,
Wow.
horrible. Because
Wow.
you coming in as a
Would,
Black woman and making the same kind of money that they making. And then if you hustle with that overtime, boy, because I tell you, FedEx was good to me with that overtime, they just they're appalled by it. Because how can you come here and
I
make the
used to
same
go
kind of
over
money
to the
that I make?
heavyweight building for my overtime. And the drivers started complaining. And then the senior manager shut us down.
What?
Told us we couldn't go over there and work anymore.
Right, sure did. Mm-hmm.
Shut us down. I almost lost my townhouse behind that shit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a huge disparity. I mean, women only make about 87 cents to every dollar that, the average probably white truck driver is making, a truck driver, period. But we're still way in the minority. 57% are white, 20% Latino, only 13.7% are Black.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, right.
Is that
that's
only in Atlanta or that's all around?
that's all over.
Oh, that's the whole nation.
Yeah. I thought it was more.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, yep.
This is a great discussion, lady.
I work for Schneider. I'm not afraid to say I work for Schneider, and I think in this past year I have noticed in their training on all different levels, they are very serious about discriminatory or protecting employees from the discriminatory practice. It is everywhere. Every monthly training now. And I was honestly quite surprised when I first went to work on the Walmart account. We had like the little coffee room where you sat and waited for your assignment or whatever, your load. Those men were on their best behavior. I did not hear foul language. They was not saying anything out. I was actually quite surprised. And on the road, I was also quite surprised. I found the truckers to be very gentlemanly on the road. And a lot of the truck stops, I got a whole bunch of freebies. So let me come in. All I got was coffee. I got free coffee. She said, "That's all you're getting," and let me go. I did not experience any of that, although I did hear that there are certain routes. When you went on certain runs, folks would tell you to be careful. In certain regions of the country, there are just still problems in certain areas.
Some of that is changing too because the LGBT community now, they're representative of 4%, and they're very vocal. So that's kind of helping with that situation now. So
wow. Oh,
but what I find that's so ironic. We've been living through prejudice all our lives. So here comes the LGBT. We didn't have the opportunity to be vocal because we would always be chastised by being vocal. But now here comes the LGBT. The things that they're saying are always the things that we should have said. We had the opportunity to say so. It's not something that's new and they're coming up and they're saying this. We never had the opportunity to even do that. If we did something like that, hey, you're gone.
Well, you know why? They have a lot of political power and money.
Oh, they have a lot of political power. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And they stick together. They really stick together. It's like absolutely. But that's where I get crazy. So here but the political power is what drives it.
Okay.
So that's the driving force.
The other comment I wanted to make was with regards to training. What I found the most difficult was the maneuvering, learning how to back.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wasn't that tough? Oh God.
My God.
A lot of folks messed up on the book stuff trying to study because they were trying to memorize too much. They were trying to memorize everything verbatim. So I had to help my classmates by doing cliff notes. I said, you cannot memorize both pieces for this test. You cannot do that. But my difficulty really was maneuvering that trailer.
I think that's true to every truck driver that you ask. What was the hardest part? And they will say backing.
That's it, straight back.
Everybody, every truck driver says that's the one thing that you will hear, and that is across the world.
Right. Because I really didn't think I was gonna pass, but one day they put us all in individual trucks, and that's all we did was back all day long. And it came to me. I was like, oh my God, I get it now.
It's not like backing up a car, right?
No.
Oh,
No.
absolutely not.
Not at all.
Okay.
And you know what I find the hardest thing for me to do is to straight back in my car. That is the hardest thing for me to back up in my car in a parking space. You should see me go up and down, up and down. And all you have to do is keep your wheels straight, right? It just doesn't click with me. Now I can take that 53-footer and back that puppy up, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But take my car and back it up. Oh, man. They said, Mom, let me come. I said, Mom, let me take the car. I'll back it up. Okay, let me get the car and park the car for you.
Is the young man who's thinking about trucking still on?
No,
Is
he
he-
left. He left. He said he's gonna go up to Olive Harvey because he admired what you said and he want to go check it out.
Yeah,
That's good. That's
if
good.
we ever in touch with him, the other thing I just want to encourage, like I said, I am so glad I have my CDL. Even once I give up trucking, you still have that license, and you can do other things so much more with it. Like I said, if I want to go and work part-time, that drive-away company, you really have something in your hand that's very useful. That's why I try to tell my young men is you don't have to think about driving truck the rest of your life.
Right.
You just keep good standards. And you can
Yeah,
still
the other thing though is taking care of yourself because truck drivers are some of the unhealthiest people.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so because when you go to those truck stops,
It's just
there's nothing
but
in there,
junk.
there's nothing there in there that's
Junk
healthy
and
except
grease.
Oh,
nothing but
wow.
grease. That's all that it is. And except for what was those donuts that you would eat? Bring Krispy Kreme. Here come and that's with them Krispy Kreme. Good
Oh
God.
my God, I survived off that every night.
That's that sugar rush.
That's crack right there.
You
Krispy
need that sugar rush.
Wow.
some very healthy truck drivers this past year. I met some guys who really have kept it together, and they
That's
encourage me to try to eat healthier. So I do not go at truck stop. I buy coffee. Everything else was on my truck, celery and my food and everything. I took my food with me, and
Yeah,
that's
We all learned to do that.
Fix my own food.
Definitely learned to do that.
Yeah.
So do the trucks have sleeping quarters in the back of them?
And what?
Sleeping quarters where you
Not the day
no.
cabs.
Oh,
Not the
well,
day cabs.
Okay.
the over the road ones, I had a real pretty truck. My first time out after I got off, when I went over the road, they gave me a brand new 2024 with 1,500 miles on it. I put the first I decorated it with all my butterflies. I had all that for my whole cab, and people were surprised. I still have folks who really want to follow along and see my experience for my first year. But then, they have a sleeper. It's not the most comfortable, but even Schneider gave us a memory foam mattress. They're actually pretty comfortable, and refrigerators built in, AC.
Schneider's moving on up in the world because they had some ragged trucks. Schneider used to. Oh no, not Schneider. That was what's the orange one? What's the orange one? The orange truck.
Schneider is orange.
Huh?
Schneider
No, that's not the one I'm thinking about. Anyway.
But they all claim to be giving you newer trucks. But
do you share your truck with anyone, Annette?
I know when they gave me my truck, it was mine until I got sick, and they gave my new truck. They loaned it out. They promised me they would give it back to me, but they didn't. 3 weeks. So when I went back, they gave me another truck that 500,000 miles on it.
Oh,
Because you think that driver's going to give that truck up, girl? Shoot, he was so glad you ain't come. He don't come.
And it's so nice that my team leader called me and said, "Well, Annette, can you think you can come in? Because the guy went in to take your stuff out your truck because they were going to loan it out. And it was so nice. They didn't want to touch anything. So they had me drive all the way in. I was sick. And my team leader went in my truck and pulled everything down and disconnected and just unloaded all my truck stuff out. The very next week I was back and they gave me another truck.
Oh,
Disappointing.
Oh, poor thing.
But it's all right. I'll put another new truck one day.
Mm.
sounds like you ladies just had a wonderful experience being truck drivers. And I every time I pass a truck driver on the road, I said, "Ooh, look at that!" And especially if it's a female, look at that sister handling that truck. I've always been so proud of you ladies, and I admire you, Greg, for offering that program to people that second chance people that need that second chance, because once you go to prison, it's like you got a mark on your back that never gets removed. I don't care what you served, how much time you served, how much money you paid, it doesn't matter. That X stays on your back. I've never been to prison, but my grandson went to prison, and it was like he never got past that. Never got past that.
The lady with the not-for-profit speaking right now. Is that you speaking?
I think Roxy's gone.
Yes.
Oh, she's gone? Okay.
Roxy's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to say, with Roxy, I met Roxy on this station here, and she and I connected Books Over Balls. They're in the high schools teaching, I guess, a better way of teaching or giving programs and resources. So she and I connected, and we had a 6-week program of trauma, stress, and what else it was. But she has an absolutely wonderful program for high school students. So I have 2 high schools I'm trying to put her program into now. So she and I have connected. So she got some money that she wants to keep here on the west side. Like, girl, we got to spend this money. If they give you some money, you better spend that money plus some more. See, give you some more money. Don't never give that money away,
Careful when you say stuff like that, because that's one thing. That's the one thing I wanted to give back to her, because she was talking about how she didn't want to mislead the ladies about driving and doing all this stuff. And I said the most important thing I think that I would tell anybody who's considering whatever the career is, and especially truck driving, is truck driving. You can make a good living with truck driving, but you can also spend all your money and you still be in the poorhouse. You got to learn how to take advantage of all those programs that allow you to sock money away. And I even try to tell my son this. You have got to learn how to save. Nobody can teach you that. You got to learn how to save your money, because you can certainly sock a good amount of money away. But that's a big piece of being a responsible working person, no matter what field you're in. Because I know some broke truck drivers. I know some folks who rub 2 nickels together. They putting $20. I mean, they put as little in the gas tank as they could. But yeah, I thought that's the only piece of advice I would have.
But even adding to that, and that wherever you work, if you're working for someone, you find out what the perks are. Right. And whatever the perks are, you better, if they've got a 401k, and then they match it, you better jump on it. Whatever that
jump on all the benefits.
Whatever those benefits are, jump on them. Absolutely. Yeah, and find out about it. Don't just sit around and just get a paycheck. Go to human resources and find out what is available, what programs. Think about retirement. Just don't even think about it. Just do it. Because if you start thinking about it, you ain't gonna do it. But just do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of young people, a lot of our folks, when they jump into these new careers, somehow they have not thought about that piece. And that's such a big piece of it, is you have got to think about what you can take away from it. If you don't have this forever, you got to set yourself a goal that says, when I leave this job, I want to make sure I put X, I done stack this much up in the bank or something like that. You got to have a goal that's protecting yourself down the road. I'm still telling this to my 40-something-year-old nieces who still ain't learning how to save. It's like, how do you say these bins, but you don't have an emergency fund? Come on, how you gonna buy a bin and you don't have an emergency fund? Right. We have an issue in our community. You know,
I
it's,
tell my daughters, you don't want to be old and broke.
Yes.
Ooh, that's
That's
so
a
true.
bad position to be in, old and broke.
Yeah, that
And
is.
not only that, when they're young, they don't think about retirement. But when you show them the things that you did because they see you retire and still enjoying life, it's like an example because our children, they got to see it, to believe
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And not only that, you kind of like give them instructions of how that is. Just like we were saying, whatever programs that they have, retirement, 401k or whatever they have, credit union. Oh my God, credit union. Jump on it, jump on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just an important piece. That's all I would add to anything, any part of this kind. It's the only one piece I want to add.
Well, I add to once you got those CDLs, you should not be without a job.
Right.
You got that.
Yeah.
You got that right. Until you don't want to work drive no more.
Right.
And hey, you guys remember at FedEx when they start bringing in the ground managers and they come in gonna try to tell us what to do.
Wrong. You got it twisted.
Right, you have to sit them down. You don't even know anything about DOT. This is not a van. You can get a van driver any day.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. This is the best show. I am going to make sure this gets out there so people can learn about female driving semi trucks.
Make sure you put that Class A on there, girl, because that means that you got to tell them that part. That's more than a notion to acquire. You say you're a truck driver, that could mean anything. Girl, throw that Class A up in there. I'm just telling you, all right?
Well, let me tell you, if you move out of state and you want to change and you want to keep that CDL, you better have your whole past. I was only married twice. This is my second one, but I had to have all my information about that first marriage, when we got married, when it ended. You can't have any mistakes on anything. They will throw it out. It took me 3 years and 6 visits to get my damn CDL, to keep my CDL out here.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, really?
Wow.
Yes. Because they don't tell you what you need to bring in.
Wow.
And I want to say, oh, you need to take a physical. I'm like, why do I need to take a physical? I'm not driving. If I get a job, I'll take a physical. But what? If you want the CDL, you better go get a physical.
Gotta take it.
Yeah. On that license, what's one license? Yeah.
But I hope you ladies would consider at some point training, after you retire or you get into the point where you want to get off the road, because there's a real shortage too of really good trainers and of course they don't make what you make now, but I mean the fact that it's a kind of a way to give back and help especially us and women, because there's a lot of, they don't know what to do. They're hurting. They got kids, they're underemployed or unemployed or in different coming out of different situations. I pretty much have seen it all. And we've been able to, I was like, if you get your CDL, it will be life-changing for you because you will always have a job. So you'll deal with the rest of whatever you got, because we all get lifed, but you can at least take care of that piece and make sure your kids and you are taken care of. So
that's right. Just tell them you can lose your job on Monday and have another one by Friday.
That's right. That's the truth. That is the show, no truth.
Yeah, okay.
I love it. I love it.
As early as a Tuesday.
All right.
You are in the truck ready to go, right?
Right.
And then I know this driver now, if he doesn't like where he works, he quits and just goes to another trucking company. He just, I don't like the way they're treating me. And he said, because I said, oh my God, where are you now? He said, well, I quit them. But he's now someplace that he really, really likes. But he would just say, I don't like the way they treated me. And quit. You know, and they go back, like you say, go on Friday, in the truck on Tuesday.
That's right.
Y'all make it sound so inviting.
Well, now we can talk about it.
Remember those white knuckle nights or white knuckle days?
Oh my goodness gracious, gee, oh Lord! But Onessa taught me because she did the long haul. What she taught me on those snow days and those fog days, she said all she does is look at them lines. Just stay on, just stay on them like just keep on them lines. Don't be
And
looking
drive
forward,
slow.
and drive slow and just drive those lines. Absolutely, you never go wrong. You stay on them, looking at them lines.
You ain't got no other choice but to go slow.
Drive slow.
On 65, look, on 65, you ain't got no other choice but go slow.
No, but see, that's why we're better drivers, because men have all that testosterone, and you know, they think, you know, they can get in this truck. I got this, and then you see them
in the ditch.
You see him in the ditch. Absolutely. And what we do, just wave at them. See?
Yeah.
At
20 miles an hour.
Oh, Lord.
Y'all too much. Y'all too much. Well, ladies, this has been an interesting discussion, and we got to have you back. And
all right.
Okay. And I just want to say thank you, ladies, so much. And you know, I called on you guys, and you just stepped right in, and I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
Welcome.
Thank you much.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. And
For the new driver that's only been there for a year, drive a couple more years before you go on them mountains, okay?
Stay away from those mountains. I'm telling you, I've been up there. You don't want to do it. You don't want
Take
to
it
do
from one who
it.
knows, boy. Oh, Lord.
Okay.
What's that? Runaways? What is Runaways? When you see the Runaways with them mountains and stuff, know that is for that's for real.
Yeah. I've seen that.
I know you're trying to get us off the
I'm just not. But that is one of my goals. I am going to do it one of these days.
Okay. Get some more experience behind.
Get some more experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure it's in the summer.
In the summer.
Right.
Yep. I'm not trying to.
Don't do it in the winter where you got to put those chains and shit on your
right.
wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Blessings, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.